What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, first and foremost, I want to thank each and every one of you guys who turned out into my live stream yesterday. If you guys want to catch any of my future live streams, I do stream every day besides Sundays, starting at around 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. But I appreciate everybody's support, keeping me company, knowing that this was going to be a little bit rough of a grind to get more footage and to come back to this game after months of taking a break and downtime from this torture fest known as Battlefield 2042. But obviously, as you guys know, the update came out yesterday. I went ahead, I streamed it, I played it for about 3 hours. There was a lot of specific things I wanted to check out with this update to see how it is, because I know this update wasn't for specialists, map design, stuff like that. It's mostly for bug fixes and glitches. So my main priority while going ahead and playing this update was to focus on the performance of the game over time, different game modes to see how the performance was, how the servers were holding up with all the players coming in, because obviously with the new update, I believe it topped like 3,000, maybe even more players coming back and trying out the game again. Nothing crazy, not a big, resurgence of people coming back, but still, it's much more than they were planning on having usually, compared to the typical like 800 to 900 people are on the game. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and start off with the positives of this video, and then eventually we're going to work our way over to the negatives. Now, I gotta say, and I gotta give DICE props as well, they did a phenomenal job with Update 4.0. Now, it didn't add in any content, it didn't change the specialists, the maps. Like I said, there's a lot of core features that the community hates that have not been touched upon yet. But when it comes to the core game and just the gameplay functioning and working, it is a major improvement from what it was literally a couple of days ago before this update came out. Servers feel a million times better, and I'm not running into situations where I'm being put into servers that have horrible connection and ping every single round. Typically, every game that I join is 100 plus ping, 100 to 200 plus ping for absolutely no reason. Even when I play solo, it puts me into servers that are not in my area. And for a hardcore gamer, something like that is very annoying. So that's one of the main reasons why I left this game in the first place. But that has been resolved. For the complete 3 hours of playtime, every single server worked perfect. And I gotta say, the bot situation where you only run into AI in every single match is slowly dwindling. I ran into one match where it took ages and we just backed out and researched for a new lobby. But I gotta say, throughout the full 3 hours, I was able to find complete full matches every single time, which is a breath of fresh air. Now, we don't know if that's going to last because obviously, as the game goes on, more people are going to leave. It's not that popular in the first place, so we don't know if we're going to be able to have full lobbies for a while, but it felt great to not have to search and literally fight bots every 5 seconds of the match. Now, this is the most crucial thing, and that is the performance. The performance of this game surprised me a little bit. Now, my frames did not improve that much, It's still around the same frames that I got before, which is around 70 to 80, and my PC is a pretty beefy build. I'll go ahead and flash up my specs at either the top right or the top left of the screen so you can compare what I'm saying to, what's going on. But I was averaging around from like 70 to 90 frames on all medium settings while I was live streaming and recording gameplay at the same time. So you got to keep in mind there was a lot of stress on the PC. So I got to say 70 to 90 frames isn't really what I want out of this game, because I can still go back to Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 1, which look almost, just as good, if not a trillion times better than Battlefield 2042, and I can average over 100 frames easily. I cap my frames at like 100 to 120, and I can easily go above with my current PC build while streaming. So it's a little confusing why I can't get that type of performance when it comes to Battlefield 2042, but I gotta say, when it comes to, like I said, the lag, the stuttering, the rubber banding, the performance drop, because before this update, it would constantly drop down to like 40 frames, 30 frames, especially when it got into very intense battles. But what I've noticed after this update 4.0 is that every single time that I get into intense gunfights where it's extremely populated in the area, you have at least 100 people in one spot just fighting for it, it doesn't drop in frames. Now, like I said, it's not topping frames, it's not getting 100 plus frames, but it's not going down from the initial like 70 to 80, maybe even 90 frames that it's getting on average. Like I said, before the update, it would spike down drastically, like to 20, 30 frames at times. It did not do any such thing while I was playing throughout the whole 3 hour play cycle. Like I said, streaming the whole time, recording the whole time, the PC was going under a ton of stress, and it was able to manage good connection and good playability. And also, just the quality of life of this game has improved drastically. I mean, little tiny things like just the sprinklers that used to frost up your screen and, give you damage, or when helicopters would fly by and hit you with explosives and your whole screen would freeze up and you can't move and you're stuttering in place, making yourself an extremely easy target on the ground for air vehicles. A lot of those things are now completely resolved. I mean, things like the turret and the robo-dogs, even though they are obnoxious, they are nowhere near as overpowered as they were once before. Now, I still don't completely completely agree with them, and I'm going to be making a video about the specialist again. I actually want to go ahead and get a little bit more deeper in the topic on why I just 110% hate them, and things that I think will improve the overall quality of them as well. I'm going to make a video about that either tomorrow, maybe the day after, or something like that. But after this update, they feel a little bit better because they don't just two-tap you, insta-dome you and piss you off. And the dog can actually be taken down with one RPG now instead of, having to hit 50 RPGs, 5 different LMGs, unloading it. It's not that insane anymore. You're not going to be able to take it out with your assault rifle by yourself easily, but if you have 2 to 3 teammates shooting at it or just one rocket, it will take it down very easily. They have fixed a ton of glitches and problems within the game. It feels more polished off. It's not completely there yet. I would say a couple more updates, big updates, not tiny updates, a couple more big updates along with, seasonal content, and it might be in a much more playable spot. But again, like I said, even though those are the positives, there are still tons of negatives, as there always is. First off, the fact that this update had to happen so late into the game's life cycle. What I'm playing right here, as you see in this gameplay, is what this game should have been released day one. With this amount of bugs, this amount of glitches, this is how it should have been put out. It's just clear proof that EA forced it out the door. They wanted this product out during the seasonal holiday. It was no ifs, buts, or ands. They wanted DICE to get it out right away. And you saw the product that we got. It's clear as day that was forced out way too early, because this right here, this update is what this game should have played like day one. And even though the community would have not accepted it because they still don't enjoy the problems, which I'm going to talk about in a second here, at the end of the day, it would still played better. I mean, just the connection alone in these horrifying servers was enough to, scare people away during the first day of gameplay. So it was a disaster. Number two, a lot of people are not going to enjoy this if you come back expecting massive, huge, game-changing, things to be done. Things like specialists being completely revamped to a class system, maps being completely remodeled so they have more cover, new DLC maps on top of that. If you are expecting major changes like that, you are going to be extremely disappointed if you come back to this game right now, because nothing has been touched upon. Now, yes, those changes are going to be coming in the future, but with all honesty, they need to try to get them out as soon as possible. This should have been a huge priority. I know they have tons of people. They just said they have almost the full team of DICE working on Battlefield 2042 right now. If you have the full team, you can definitely designate a huge portion of that team to start working on pumping out these maps and pumping out these specialist changes as soon as possible. Because even though this update right here was phenomenal for gameplay purposes, that's not why people left Battlefield 2042. Like, it sucks to say, but people left because just the core game itself is booty cheeks. You can polish it off as much as you want, but when it comes down to the foundation of this game, nobody enjoys that. So the only way you will bring people back in massive waves to try out Battlefield 2042 again is if you make those changes. Specialists and maps must be touched upon very soon. And also, the mouse input strangely feels untouched once again. I don't know when they're going to actually, deal with this problem, but the mouse input is extremely crucial for a game that revolves around, shooting and aiming. You would want that to be up there in the top priorities, but it seems like it just simply is not. And again, I could work around this because the gameplay fixes the stability now of the servers, and also just the stability of the game itself is kind of, making up for it, but still, at the end of the day, it's a very big problem that just simply hasn't been addressed. And even though there's a decent amount of updates to Portal and Hazard Zone, sadly, the game modes are still just dead. Hazard Zone, it might get some more people coming back, but Portal, it's just, I don't see the love and life in that game mode. I mean, they keep constantly removing, some of the best game modes like Rush or TDM from the rotation. And then, obviously, you can go into the custom lobbies where you can look through the server browser and find lobbies. But there's nothing there. Nobody's hosting anything. And when they do, typically the ping is sky high. We're talking about 100, 200 plus ping, which at a certain point becomes unplayable. So right now, Battlefield 2042 is looking to be a title that's only going to have one playable mode, all-out warfare. That's going to be their only focus. They're going to try to make sure that all-out warfare is playable, the connection works, the gameplay works, which is great because that's what their main focus should be. But the whole purpose of separating all these modes and removing a campaign, and stuff like that would add value to the game is to add other things in place of that specific game mode to add similar value. And Portal and Hazard Zone do not add that similar value. This game feels like maybe a 30, $40 title. I can see $40 because of the premium, AAA price tag on it, but $60 seems way too much for this game still to this date. So honestly, if you have not purchased this game yet, I still wouldn't pull the trigger. It's not worth it yet. Maybe in the future, when it gets more updates and more content, it could potentially become something a little bit better. It won't be the Battlefield that everybody wanted, the Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4, the next coming. It's not that, but, it's something playable. If you're craving a more modern-day, near-futuristic Battlefield game, and you're tired of the outdated ways of Battlefield 4, which it is kind of getting outdated, and Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1, which are both, World War I and World War II shooters, Battlefield 2042 might become a little bit better, possibly in the near future. And if you already had this game and you're wondering if you should reinstall or, if you just have it installed and want to try it out again, I think it's worth it. If it's already on your console or your PC, if you already have it installed, then maybe. For me personally, it took almost 4 hours to download the update. That might just be an Origins thing. I don't really like Origins that much. It never happens for any other game that I download. Besides, anything on Origins, Apex, Battlefield, Need for Speed, whatever it is, the Origin browser does it the slowest. So it might just be a me issue. But if you don't have it installed, it might not be worth it to check out. But if you have it, might as well. It's a big update. It did improve the servers. It did improve the game. So if you're looking to see how much it improved, you'll definitely see some noticeable differences. I can promise you that. But again, like I said, if you're thinking of buying this game, or if the only way that you'll return is if they fix up the specialists and stuff, it's not time yet for you to return. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. If I hated it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new and enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button. Also, if you want to chat me, there's 2 ways to do so. I have Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. And last but not least, if you want to catch me live streams of video games, do it on Twitch. Link that is in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.